I always tell you not to move, and then I start scratching my beard when I.
There you go. This is the kind of intro that you've gotten used to on the All Dolphins podcast with Omar and Poupart. We're at episode 275. It's going to be one of the last episodes, unfortunately.
Of us together.
Of us together. Correct. No, well, that's isn't that what I meant? That's what I meant. Because Omar is moving on, as probably most of you have heard by now. He has taken a position with the Miami Herald. So he'll have his own podcast. This podcast will continue probably under a different name. So it certainly won't be called All Dolphins Podcast with Omar Kelly and Alain Poupart, because that would be inaccurate.
Well, it was always going to change its name, though. So do acknowledge that.
I will acknowledge that. So we probably got a couple more of these left. We're going to try to make them as good or as bad, depending on your viewpoint, as they've always been. So I don't know if you want to say anything else before we dive into the real reason we're here today, which is to discuss round one of the NFL draft, particularly as it pertains to the Dolphins.
No. Well, yes. One, it's been an honor and a pleasure not only building this podcast and continuing to do daily talk, 275 episodes since I believe we started in February, like the day before free agency or something like that. Last year.
March 12th. Actually.
March 12th. Okay. Yeah. March 12th. It's been an enjoyable ride. Learned a lot about myself, learned a lot about the beat, learned a lot about building a podcast, solo dolo from ground up. Not only just the podcast, but the work we did for alldolphins.com. You will continue to do it under All Dolphins. Yes.
No, si.com/NFL/Dolphins.
Well, it was alldolphins.com.
But at one point, it's not anymore. There will be a new URL with a new name, I am told, very soon.
Okay. And then you need to explain to the people that while alldolphins.com will continue, that will no longer be you, correct?
That is correct. That is a different site under the old umbrella company for which I operated, and now I have migrated to the new company that now publishes and is licensed to publish Sports Illustrated and the Fan Nation NFL sites.
Yes. So there's a lot of changes coming to this podcast and the website, and also for myself, and just want to say that I am returning to a paper that gave me my start in the newspaper business. As an 11th grader at Miami Carroll City High School, I basically worked in the North Miami Beach neighbor's office under the mentorship of Barry Jackson, who now I will be a colleague of and do a podcast with. My career is coming full circle after probably 94. You do the math because you're a mathematician.
94 to 2024 is pretty easy. It's 30 years.
30 years. Wow. That's unbelievable. This is something I'm doing for myself. As for those who know, I'm going through a rough period in life, a difficult transition. And this is something that I need for my family and my stability, to take care of my daughter. And I'm just thankful for the Herald's opportunity. I'm also thankful for what we've done here and built, because without Alain, I would not have been able to sustain myself. And I'm thankful for that, brother. And you will always be a brother. But on to a new chapter, as are the Dolphins, because
okay, enough. Yeah, enough with that. And why are you lying to the people? I kicked your ass out. This is what happened. That's what happened. Kicked your ass to the curb. Get the hell out of here. Go back to the Herald. I kid. It's been real. It's been fun, but it hasn't been real fun. Anyway, enough with what?
But we'll continue to be here throughout the draft. So this is, and we'll actually do a live on Monday. So our final live together. So we'll keep the party going. Now we're here to discuss the first round day, first selection. What do you? Oh, Chop! Don't. He's not.
Come on, man.
Now, if he was from FSU, everybody would be chopping and would be ultra excited. I think.
Would they though? No, I don't think so. I think for some reason they had. I think half the fans had their mindset on Xavier Worthy with speed.
Yeah. Those are the ball watchers, though.
Ball watchers. No, Those who like the big uglies wanted offensive lineman, offensive lineman, offensive lineman, offensive lineman, because you can never have enough offensive linemen. Got to have more, protect.
Okay, well, when your quarterback's having to rush his throws, stop it. You know he did. Stop it.
Here we go.
And the pocket
was
compromising. And I'm not saying it was a whole season, but it was the final month of the year at least. Acknowledge that.
Was he under duress more unreasonably more so than any other quarterback in the NFL? Come on now.
No, he was not. But his timing was sped up, and he's already one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL in terms of getting the ball out of his hand. But then when you have unstable, uncomfortable pockets, you're rushed. And there were key moments in the Baltimore game and the Kansas City game where pressure rushed his throws. Don't do that.
Yeah, no.
Don't do that.
And I'll give you a perfect example, unless my memory massively fails me. Look at the interception against Kansas City when he threw over the top, over the middle. That play, he didn't set his feet properly, but he had time and he couldn't find anybody, and eventually he got like happy feet a little bit. The movement was off, and then he floated the ball. That's not on the offensive line. Sorry. And this
but
is
there were throws that throw to Tyreek that was a little high over the middle of the field that Tyreek could have, if maybe 100% caught in the final drive. And let's say he catches that wasn't Kansas City. That was
Buffalo.
That was Buffalo.
And he got the ball off, and that one was on Tyreek. Even though I will give him a little bit, not a pass, but a little bit of a what's what I'm looking for, of a mitigating factor that he got held and turned around a little bit before the ball got there. Still should have caught it. But there wasn't. I don't recall there.
No. There was pressure. There was pressure on those final drive plays. And in a lot of those key losses that they had last season, and I'm not saying this to down talk Lester Cotton. How many teams in the NFL would Lester Cotton be starting for?
No, that's not down talking him at all. Oof. He completely sucks, and he couldn't start for anybody else, but I'm not done talking him.
How many teams would Liam Eichenberg be starting for? Maybe 10?
Both of them could have started all year for the Giants and been an upgrade, if we're going to be honest about it.
Okay, that's fine. All right.
No
more excuses. You're right. No more excuses, but let's not act like the offensive line's instability at the end of the season was not a contributing factor to the corrosion of the offense.
It was a factor. I don't think it's the factor that a lot of people want to make it out to be. And this will get to my point. And by the way, can you grant me that the selection of Chop Robinson was maybe slanted more toward need than toward best player available?
If we're going to do this, we have to identify who the best players available were, which is Jerzon Newton and Graham Barton. And then I think we'd probably go with Tyler Guyton if we're just going, or a cornerback, if we're just going to be spitballing it, how we would draw up our board. Correct?
Not one cornerback had been taken. You're going to tell me Chop Robinson's a better prospect than any of the cornerbacks in the draft?
I cannot tell you that.
Okay. So, Your Honor, I rest my case.
Here's what I like about Chop Robinson, and then we will address the issues. Okay, let's do it that way. You comfortable with that?
Hold on. One last point on this pressure, by the way. And I am fully aware that the fact that the Dolphins run a lot of quick passes and that Tua is very good at getting the ball out very quickly. According to my good friends at Pro Football Reference, the percentage of times pressured per drop back, Tua was literally, in terms of the lowest percentage, which would be good, was tied for third in the NFL with Lamar Jackson.
He also gets the ball out of his hands faster than any other quarterback in the NFL.
That's not what I said, though. That's not what I said.
Okay.
I said I did say it was part of it.
And I have campaigned and praised Butch Barry for the job and performance that he did with what he had available. all last season. I said to you on this podcast, I would have him as he would get a vote from me for MVP of the season if we factored everything involved. Yes, I said it.
No, you did. You said what you said. Yes,
I said what I said. You should really think about that for the podcast. The name.
No, because I think that would be soiling our relationship.
True.
How's that for sentimentality?
But if you had a better caliber of talent, your baseline, your floor would be higher. And I'm not saying that they can't go about getting better talent, especially for the interior positions in day 2 or day 3, because they can, or in free agency, because they can. What I am saying is, would Chop Robinson be a better NFL pro than Graham Barton or Tyler Guyton? And we don't know.
Nobody knows. Even NFL scouts don't know it. This is the best evaluation. That's why NFL teams miss on half the prospects and all that.
Yeah, they only hit on about 33% of their draft picks.
Correct. So nobody knows. We don't know. But to me, I go with why I like the pick, and again, not pretending that I know what he's going to do. And it is troubling. They didn't get a very high number of sacks, but you see his film and you listen to all the scouts. The dude moves.
Yeah, I mean, he basically is a first-round pick without college productivity.
No, correct. And here's the other thing too.
Yeah,
had he had 8 sacks last year, he's a top 5 pick. So let's be honest about that. With his athletic skills, had he had the production, again, he's like a top 5 or top 10 pick. To me, is if every player pans out, who makes a bigger impact on the NFL level? Your edge pass rusher or your interior offensive lineman? And also, what's the biggest difference between Chop Robinson and somebody you get at 55 or later in the draft compared to the difference between Graham Barton and an offensive lineman you get at 55 in the draft? And to me, positional value, give me the edge defender all the time.
And I think that they rank their board based on positional value. I never said they don't rank their board based on positional value, because they clearly do. Chris Greer is a stickler for BPA. I know you're going to get in your feelings about what BPA really is.
I'm just going to roll my eyes.
BPA with caveat of positional value. And they undoubtedly, when I saw the board stacking up so perfectly for them, and I think it got a little watered down at the end, but when I saw the board stacking up so perfectly for them, I said, here's the talent that's available. And there was a lot of good talent before Steelers and somebody else picked off guys who they would probably be absolutely giddy about.
What, the Rams?
Steelers and Rams, yeah. Steelers and Rams just cleaned their board. I said pass rusher is a priority position. It's always been a priority position for Chris Greer. It happens to be a position of need for the Miami Dolphins. That has to be the way they go. Now, clearly, Jared Verse was still on the board, and that would have been an absolute home run for the Miami Dolphins. What makes me uncomfortable about the Chop Robinson selection is the fact that the college productivity, not there. He battled concussion issues throughout college. That has to be concerning, yes. And final season, sidelined, more than likely concussions, had concussions at Maryland. This is not fiction. This is fact. Now, how he's going to be in the NFL, I don't know. One issue that I do have is that a lot of the evaluators say he's not good against the run. And here's my issue with that. We have been there before, exactly there with Charles Harris.
Oh, Jesus. Please don't go there.
I did. I can't not.
Oh, that's flat. You're giving me flashbacks. Bad flashbacks.
Did you not get a Charles Harris-esque feel, unpolished, light productivity, amazing metrics?
Well, here's okay. Let him score test 57 for Charles Harris at the combine, and that's 30th among edge players. Chop Robinson, the same athleticism metric, 84, third among defensive and edge guys. And you look at the tape too. I looked at Charles Harris back then, and it was like, meh.
Yeah.
You see some tape of Chop Robinson. The guy moves. Like I said, I mean, he moves. I know. So no, I would not compare the two.
Quick first step. Explosive, knows how to cut between blocks. However, hand usage is supposedly an issue. Technique is raw, needs to be coached up. Now, I don't know this new pass rushing coach. Don't know him from Adam. Beasley.
What, you mean the assistant defensive line coach?
There's a new pass rushing coach. I couldn't tell you what his name is.
Pass rushing coach?
Yeah. They mentioned him in the press conference that he provided a cut up of Chop Robinson to basically sell and make make his case for that player in the first round, which is why and understand Chop Robinson was a player who was clearly identified. Look, no matter what board you look at, no matter which evaluator you believe in, no matter which draftnik you think is a guru, he was evaluated as a top 25 player and a legitimate first rounder in this 2024 NFL draft. That cannot be debated. However, he was viewed as the biggest project of all the pass rushers in this draft, pass rushers in the elite category.
Well, correct. And that may be why you see the national reaction. It's kind of split. You got some guys who are like, meh, and you got some guys that really like him. And NFL.com, their draft profile page, their very quick summary is boom or bust potential.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other thing too, is I don't know if people really, by people I mean fans, really realize just how big of a need the edge defender position was. And
it is. She's massive.
I mean, a massive need. And to me,
massive.
Had they gotten there,
probably the biggest need on the team.
Yeah, correct. And especially if you're looking this year, and then if you're looking beyond this year, because I'm going to throw it out again. Bradley Chubb has zero guaranteed money beyond 2024. He's one of the many players who are in that same boat. Can you guarantee me Bradley Chubb's on the roster in 2025?
I cannot. I can't guarantee. I can't guarantee you that Jalen Phillips is on the roster past 2025 because Jalen Phillips is probably going to want to be $100 million player, and who knows if the Dolphins are going to want to pay him $100 million. Bradley Chubb next year is going to make a little over $20.1 million on the books. And if he is released as a June 1st cut, it will clear exactly $9.1 million. So I don't know if that's substantial enough for me to make a move. Be honest with you. And a lot of that is because of the restructuring that's done. In fact, the next 2 years after that, 25 and 26, he's going to clear $9.1 million. So basically the restructuring.
Okay.
Actually, hold on. Change that. Okay. Yeah, no, he's here because the cap savings is just so minimal for the next 2 years. Anyway. And then
the other thing too, hold on. The other thing also is that Bradley Chubb's not coming off a second torn ACL. For an edge defender, Dolphins, massive cap savings or not, are going to really think about this. By the way, you're looking at the wrong thing. 2025 as a June 1 cuts at $20 million cap savings. What you have is $9 million of dead space. That's
2025 cap savings. 2025, no, sir. Based on okay, I'm sorry. Yes, 2025, $20 million in cap savings.
Okay, that's not insignificant. So anyway, but be that as it may, beyond that, you have the fact that this year Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips are two very, very hard workers. They're really, really good athletes. So there's reason to be optimistic that they're going to be back at 100% not long after the start of the season, but there's no guarantee when you're talking about a torn ACL and an Achilles tear. And then beyond that, Dolphins have basically Zeke Vandenberg, Cameron Good, who's coming off a torn patella tendon, and Shaquille Barrett, who's clearly on the back nine of his NFL career. So that fills a need now. It fills a need for the future. And when you're talking about the offensive line, to me, the biggest screaming need for the offensive line wasn't so much this year getting you got to get a starting guard. It was looking beyond next year for a tackle, which is why when the Steelers took Troy Fautanu, which would have been, man, that would have been the ideal pick because he could have helped in both instances.
Yeah, I think Fautanu and Verse were clearly somebody that the Dolphins would have selected over Chop Robinson. But then again, you just never know how the Dolphins stack their board, and maybe Chop Robinson would have been higher rated than them. I got a 4-minute diatribe from Mike McDaniel yesterday at the end of the press conference when the question was asked and the focus was on, our continuous, as the media, our continuous obsession with the offensive line and improving the offensive line. And Mike McDaniel basically stressed for 4 minutes that they have a higher belief in their coaching staff, in their scheme, and then in the players that they have in-house and the development of those players in-house than we do as the media. This is the second year we've had this lecture.
Shocker that he would say that.
But this is the second year that we've had this lecture, going back to last year, where Chris Greer basically said, you guys have a higher, like a lower opinion of the offensive linemen than we do. And we believe in player development and player and coaching. Now,
but here you are telling me how bad the offensive line was last year, and it was
no. I didn't. It was good, but good, which fizzled out to mediocre at the end of the season with all the patchwork that was done.
Correct, and I will maintain it wasn't the reason the Dolphins' offense fizzled. It wasn't the biggest reason the Dolphins fizzled down the stretch.
It was one of them, though.
Sure.
Okay, so and we're getting to the point now where Austin Jackson developed. Props. Kendall Lamb went from camp body to solid NFL starter.
Whoa. Time out. And
Kendall Lamb wasn't camp body when he began camp?
Kendall Lamb had like 7 years of NFL experience when the Dolphins picked him up at the end of the 2022 season. It was, and now what did you call him? He's a very good swing tackle.
Yes,
very solid background.
I think he's a borderline fringe starter in the NFL.
Okay, you went from solid starter to borderline.
No. I said camp body to solid. I think he's a solid borderline NFL starter. Could he start for the New York Giants, like you said, doing my face? Okay, thank you.
Not this year. He couldn't. He could have last year.
Okay,
and let me just be straight about this. I don't think there's a massive difference at right tackle between Kendall Lamb and Austin Jackson, if I might be honest with you.
I can't answer that question because I like Kendall Lamb a lot better at left tackle than I like him at right tackle. But I do believe in Kendall Lamb, and I do believe in Austin Jackson. Austin Jackson, as Mike McDaniel said, we expect our players to, from what you finish the season looking at them, get better substantially the next year. And I think Austin Jackson is a player that can continue to progress and continue to improve. Remember, not a lot of people know this, but he played the second half of the season with a torn oblique muscle. Mm-hmm. Like, the guy soldiered through it for months, which is why he signed the contract that he did. Because if it was a full tear, season done, no money, no dinero.
Two quick counterpoints to Mike McDaniel's comment, and there's nothing wrong with saying what he's saying. This is a coach who's going to back his players, and I salute him for that. But number one, if that applies to the Dolphins, that means that every other team's players are going to get better from one year to the next. So it's a matter of who improves the most or who was better to begin with, number one. And then number two, if we're going to be realistic about things, no, while it's the goal and it does happen, not every player is going to keep doing this.
I can't even name you a player that keeps doing that. Like, I mean, there are some, but can we say that Javon Holland has kept doing this?
No. I would say Christian Wilkins is one of those who did this.
Yes, Christian Wilkins absolutely has kept doing that. But Andrew Van Ginkel, it went like
trying to think. He was pretty steady. He was steady. He was solid, steady from the time he got there.
Yes. Brandon Jones, did it keep doing this? No.
But his usage was different though. That's not a great, because Brian Flores had him blitzing the quarterback, which is what he does best. So he was really effective in that role. And then if you put him as more of a cover guy, that's not necessarily his forte.
But to Mike McDaniel's point, what he's saying is, while we have this obsession and infatuation with offensive linemen and getting offensive line help, which very well might happen with pick number 55, they believe in Liam Eichenberg. They believe in Robert Jones. They believe in
Jack Driscoll.
I don't think so. They believe in Keon Smith.
There you go.
That's who I was looking for. And they believe that those players can help them and get better and fill the void. And I'm sure Liam Eichenberg, because they have a high opinion of Liam Eichenberg. So maybe, and I think Liam Eichenberg's best performance last year was at right guard. Can't remember the game, but I thought that was his by far best performance of the season. And when I saw that, I immediately said, they're going to let Robert Hunt walk.
No, yeah. And the other thing with Liam is they want to make it work with him because, again, right or wrong, and despite what NFL people will tell you, they traded up. They surrendered a third-round pick to move up in the 2021 draft from 50 to 42 to take Liam Eichenberg. So they're going to give him every single solitary possibility to make it work. And obviously, I have zero issue with that.
I don't have an issue with that as well. However, I will say this: you better have a backup plan. And I don't necessarily, unless Robert Jones is that backup plan or Driscoll is that backup plan, we shall see. But they could very well address offensive line in the later rounds of this draft. The one thing I do want to address is Chris Greer's continuous hints that he tried to get back into the first round. And my question is, my wonder is, for who, for what?
Oh, are you doing Ricky Waters on me? Come on, let's see. Put in the comments, guys. Put in the comments how many get the reference. Yeah, I know that went over it, and I'll give you the story. Actually, don't worry about putting in the comments. I'll tell the story very quickly. Ricky Waters, I don't know if you remember who he was. He was a running back for 49ers, Eagles, and there was a play where he alligatored a pass over the middle, and I mean bad, and he was taken to task in the media after the fact, and basically his response was, you expect me to lay out and get like the crap beat out of me? For what? For who? That's the reference.
Busy made a business decision.
He made a business decision, yeah.
Here's my thing about Chris Greer's open admission repeatedly that I wanted back in. And maybe that player is still there. Now, could it have been Xavier Worthy, who the Kansas City Chiefs traded up with the Buffalo Bills to go select, which kind of became the what are you doing moment
Why
of the draft?
Are you helping the team that keeps knocking your ass out of the playoffs every year? What is wrong with the Bills, who have done a lot of things right? But my Lord, was that stupid. And I don't care. And you saw the trade package too. It was for moving down from 28 to 32. They swapped. They got a 3 for a 4, and they swapped 7s. Really, that's all you're going to get to help the team that's been sitting atop the AFC,
and give them another weapon to stretch the field for Patrick Mahomes. And you knew what they were trying to do. What are you doing? But anyway, let them run their team. More power to them. Brian Bean is supposedly a genius. I want to see how this pans out. I think everybody in the AFC would have been extremely scared if they got Xavier Worthy. They didn't. Josh Allen will continue to hunt for weapons.
Well, hold on. Supposedly I saw somebody on Twitter throw this out, that because you saw Buffalo then traded from 32 to 33, getting out of the first round entirely. Now they have the first pick in the second round. And the suggestion that was made was to buy themselves some time to try to work out all day today before the draft a trade for T. Higgins, who has asked to be traded, which I thought, I'm just saying it was thrown out there.
So why not just give up 32 for T. Higgins?
Because maybe they don't want to give up 32. Number one, because maybe the discussions are going to be more elaborate than that. Maybe because they don't want to give up 32 and now 33. But it did buy him some time, I guess. And
why would Cincinnati help Buffalo so that Buffalo can stay ahead of them in the AFC hierarchy?
Because why would the Bills help the Chiefs? Because T. Higgins has asked to be traded.
So along with kitty for the kitty.
I understand that, but they also have to pay Jamar Chase. So it could be a point where the Bengals are like, well, we can't pay everybody a wide receiver. We're going to make a business decision, and we're going to pick Jamar Chase over T. Higgins.
I mean, clearly they're going to pick Jamar Chase over T. Higgins, but I think if you're Cincinnati, you try to ride this out one more year with a healthy Joe Burrow, and see what can be of this roster. And I'd even go as far as say Tyler Boyd, run it back one more time. Because right now, Joe Burrow, like, do they really think Mike Gesicki's about to turn it up in Cincinnati? Like, are you serious?
If they throw him the ball, they'll catch it. I mean, it's not just as long as they don't ask him to block.
Yeah, and I'll absolutely know exactly what they're running whenever he enters the field. Like,
but also, for example, Tennessee wound up trading A.J. Brown. Devontae Adams wound up being traded by the Packers. Let's not pretend that good receivers who teams really should hang on to don't get traded. And it could be that the Bengals at some point are going to make the decision. Love T. Higgins, would love to run it back with all our guys, but we're not paying the kind of money he wants. And it's going to become an issue. Let's see what we can get for him.
I mean, at the rate of pay that these wide receivers are getting at this present moment, is T. Higgins really a $22-24 million wide receiver? Like,
ask him, what do you think he's going to tell you?
Absolutely. And hey, more power to you, Buffalo. Wish you the best. Let's get back to the topic of what was Chris Greer trading up for?
Hold on. And meanwhile, Jalen Waddle's looking at all these wide receiver contracts going like, do go on. Please, do go on.
So is Tyreek Hill. Don't act like Tyreek is looking at it like, yeah.
I'm not in the slam dunk he gets a new deal camp that you are with Tyreek Hill. Sorry.
He's still a top 10 weapon in the game.
I know that. I know.
And the minute he hits 2,000 yards, which he's flirted with the last 2 years, he is going to break the bank and reset the whole market. And you know it. So don't deny it. All he's got to do is stop having babies and stay out of trouble.
You're telling the man how to run his life now. Damn.
He's got a wife.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Okay, moving on. So, yeah, it could have been Xavier Worthy, or the whole Xavier Worthy thing may have been a smoke screen. Could it have been my friend Cooper DeJean with the idea of using him in the Kyle Hamilton? Cooper DeJean is still on the board, incidentally. Let's see who else. If you look at the guys who were picked, could it have been for Graham Barton to fill that offensive line need? I don't know.
I don't know. What I do know is that there's some talented offensive linemen still available there. I really don't know where they are from a defensive tackle thirst level. Maybe they feel they can fill the void with a Leonard Taylor from University of Miami in day 3. I have a hard time believing that they're going to make pick number 55 and then not get back into the draft until the 5th round. I just have a hard time buying that, especially when you can ship a future 3rd to maybe get a 4th. But I will say this. He put it out there. He intentionally put it out there. He's going to be working the phones. We know that Chris Dreer, and I've done this research, Chris Dreer has made more trades in the NFL than any other executive since taking over in 2019. He likes trades. He likes the conversations. And lo and behold, it could be a veteran that gets dislodged from another team that they just pick up like they did. Who was a running back that they picked up one day in the draft?
Matt Breida.
Matt Breida, exactly. There are tons of veterans. And then I continue to say this, and I'm not going to get off it. Calais Campbell comes here and solves all of Miami's D-line problems. Yeah. So
here's the thing also. To me, unless it's Newton falls at 55 for some reason or the Dolphins move back up, I don't see the point in selecting a defensive tackle for the sake of selecting a defensive tackle when you got 37 of them on your roster. Because how significantly better is that guy you're going to get at 55 who is not in the top tier?
Yeah. Right? I mean, you're right. Newton, the fact that he fell out of the 1st round is an indicator that the draftniks and the media evaluated him a lot higher than NFL teams because, as we know, especially pass rushing defensive tackles, they've got value. They've got currency. They are worth money. Look at what Christian Wilkins just got after 1 year being a sack producer.
Or
the
medicals came back worrisome. Remember, he had the Jones fracture. Whatever the Jones fracture is, that's a foot issue.
Yeah, Xavier has Jones fracture. So,
it is? Mm-hmm. Is that right? So how many types of fractures are there in the foot? There's a Jones, a Liz Frank. What else?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe the fact that they haven't had workout numbers for him pushes. We know medical and all kinds of issues push guys down into the later rounds. So let's do this. The Dolphins have pick number 55. We know where they are, but what do you think? Who do you think they could potentially trade up for? Who do you think could be their target in the second round?
I'm going to go back to Cooper DeJean.
You really want this Cooper DeJean, huh? You really think he's that dude?
I do think he's that dude, and I do think that Anthony Weaver, while implementing his own twists, doesn't want to try to replicate some of the things that worked so well for Baltimore. And one other thing that worked so well was Kyle Hamilton. And I think if they could get their hands to me, he looks like he could be an interesting piece with which to be able to do some of those things.
The top safety still on the board in terms of Tyler Nubin. If you don't consider Cooper DeJean a safety, whatever you consider him as, 6'1", 203 pounds. I am not personally as high on him as you are, but hey, I'm a fan. There's Jeremiah Newton, the defensive Jerzon Newton, the defensive tackle from Illinois. There's Brandon Fisk, the defensive tackle from Florida State. I think that they're going to be okay at 55, depending on what they want to address. But my concern is if you're going to get that future left tackle to replace Teron Armstead, doesn't it need to be at 55 as opposed to the 5th round?
You're not getting a slam dunk starting left tackle in the 5th round. Sorry. I mean, not saying that it can't happen. I'm saying if that's where you're pinning your hopes, yeah, good luck with that one. I mean, come on. If you look at the elite left tackles in the NFL, I mean, other than the guy from the Eagles who they got out of Australian rules football, I mean, Tunsil's a 1st round pick. Armstead was kind of a gem. If there's one of those guys out there, the 4th round pick out of Arkansas.
I get the feeling based on Mike McDaniel's 4-minute diatribe that they're going to draft some projects. They're going to spend the 5th and 6th round drafting O-line projects, draft and develop. And I'm a big believer in draft and develop. I think the Heat have been a powerhouse in the NBA because they draft and develop, or just develop, because they don't even need draft picks.
It's not about Heat culture?
No, that is Heat culture. Heat culture is draft and develop.
Or let me put it another way. They have a Hall of Fame coach and a Hall of Fame executive. Could that be it instead of this Heat
that create a draft and culture program? Like, there are teams, Baltimore, Steelers, Eagles, Seahawks, Green Bay, whoever the hell they pick in 4 years is going to be getting a max contract because they draft and develop. And I would
better than most. Not everybody has like a perfect hit rate,
True. But I would love for, if there's one thing that Mike McDaniel does, one calling card that he creates, and yes, he's achieved this with Tua and Austin Jackson, and I think that's where my list stops. And Christian, he can't get credit for Christian because Brian Flores gets a lot of credit for Christian. Or Zach Sealer, same thing. Brian Flores gets a lot of credit for Zach Sealer. If this team, this franchise became a draft and develop team, man, I would be so thrilled and happy. But they're not.
Yeah, but also correct. I mean, that would require a complete reset, because right now, basically, of your top 6 players, maybe 4 of them, if not 5, came in trades or free agency. That's the road you chose, pretty much starting with Tyreek Hill.
I mean, when you went F them picks, you knew what you were doing. And my thing is, now there's a shift in the culture, and we're preaching this draft and develop because we got to get cheaper to pay for the quarterback. Okay, well, that means you got to actually draft well and then develop these players. I think that they're recently doing a better, decent job at the drafting part. The developmental part, because this coaching staff is so new, where are the Eric Uzukamas of the world? Where are the Savon Ahmeds? Yes, we got Devon Achane. Where's the tight ends? Where's the development of the tight ends, the Julian Hill,
Channing Tindall,
Cam Smith? I mean, we kind of gave up on Tindall. There's no development there. But we got to see it. And if you're going to restock the shelves with young, inexpensive talent, the development part is key, and we shall see how they do. So it'll be interesting to see. Give me what you want. One player you want, day 2.
I told you already.
Who?
Poupart.
Oh, it's not going to happen. They're not going to trade up. He's going to be probably a top 5 selection in the second.
I understand that. But the question you asked was, which player do I want?
So you want to move up. What you giving up to move up?
No. I didn't say I wanted to move up. You asked me which player I want.
Okay, so you're not willing to move up.
Oh, we're if we're dealing in reality, I have to see who could be there at 55.
I mean, so you're technically not willing to move up. You want him, but you're not willing to move up. You're not willing to pay the cost, is what you're saying.
Here's the deal, Omar. This is where we need to be consistent about what we do. Did you not just finish talking about the need to build up a treasure
young
chest?
stable of talent? Yes.
Okay. Well, you don't do that by trading away picks.
Okay, but if you can get a superstar by trading away next year's 3 to move up from 55 to 40, you don't do it? I'm asking you a question. Yes or no?
If you have that kind of conviction on the dude, sure. Okay. But then don't. Okay. If he doesn't pan out, then you've lost a 3.
You did that for Liam Eichenberg, and Tough Titty said the kitty.
Well, and this is partly why we are where we are.
Very true.
Not to pin everything on Liam. Sorry, Liam, but that's the kind of move that backfires badly. More so than if you just pick the guy and he doesn't pan out, a la Channing Tindall, which sucks because they could have used a good 3rd-round pick there. And it's not looking like it's going to happen. But at least they didn't surrender an additional pick on top of that.
Yeah. I am a Braden Fisk guy.
Okay, I was going to say it. I'm so proud of you. You didn't say Cam Kitchens.
I know he's going to be in the later rounds. Now, would I trade next year's 3 to get into round 3 to get him, Kindle? Kitchens? Absolutely. I'm a big believer in him. I think he's going to be a star. But Fisk is just a guy that reminds me a lot of Zach Sealer. Just a try hard, hustle, never quit motor. I don't think he's going to be a stud of a player, but I think that if you build your roster with solid pros, that if you build your roster with a team full of Zach Sealers, oh, you're gonna and add a couple of stars to it in the Tyreek Hills and Jalen Waddles, Devon Achans, I think you're gonna be good money. So I would definitely target the FSU linebacker Braden Fisk, but I don't expect that he'll be there when the Dolphins are on the clock at 55.
Okay, I'll give you two other names since no, that's just me. That's thinking. It wasn't me shushing. I wouldn't do that.
I thought you were trying to keep Fisk a secret.
No, after his performance in the after the college season, he's not a secret. So I'll give you two names here who I like. Mike Senristil, slot corner, Michigan.
Okay.
He very well could be there at 55. Love him. Love his game. To me, he's
kind of a theme with your two safety.
The other one is a wide receiver. How about that?
All right.
Great size and makes plays. Hands are somewhat inconsistent, but as somebody I know very well might say, tough titty said the kitty, Keon Coleman from Florida State.
Inconsistent hands. I learned from great receiver coach. If they struggle to catch the ball, why is their job called receiver? No, it's why is their position called receiver if they struggle to catch the ball? Don't do it.
So instead of wide receiver, it should be wide receiver.
That's a good one from you.
What do you mean from me? Hey, what the hell does that mean?
You're not very funny.
Wow. Wow. It's a good thing you're leaving. You don't have to put up with any more of this abuse.
All right.
Okay.
On that note, we will be back to assess day 2 of the NFL draft. Looking forward to continue to give you draft coverage here at All Dolphins Podcast. And we will be back. Hopefully have a successful draft day on day 2 and day 3. We love you. Mwah. We're out.